Thank you to Kat and Victoria for pledging on Patreon. Hello and welcome back to the channel and Vlogmas. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Ricky and I am disabled. I am deaf, I have chronic pain and fatigue, both of which do not have an official diagnosis attached to them as to what it could be. I have ideas, but I don't have health insurance or the money to officially figure it out. And I have just been recently diagnosed in the summer with carpal tunnel syndrome, which is pain and numbness basically all right in here. And with that, I've had to learn to adapt to new disabilities. And let me just say, it's not been a fun ride. I've been doing YouTube since 2010 officially. I have been using a computer for a lot longer than that, but I've been, I use computers. I type constantly because I have to do emails, I do presentations, I write articles, and obviously I edit videos and things like that. But also for the last 3 years, it's almost exactly 3 years and a couple of days, I have been streaming on Twitch. If you don't follow me, you should. That is a lot of gaming. So I've been primarily streaming Fortnite and just shooter games where you're doing a lot of the same thing over and over. I started noticing getting numbness a week before my birthday, so I had 2 terrible birthday gifts happening, right before then. That was great. But now it's started to move over to this hand now. Also, besides just doing computer work, I used to write letters a lot for Patreon, and now I can't do that, and I sign. I'm deaf, so I use American Sign Language from time to time, right? Thankfully, this left hand is my writing hand, so that's been a bummer. But thankfully, my signing hand, my dominant signing hand has been my right. Don't ask me why. I can't sign with my left. I can only do it with my right hand. I don't know. So it was good. Although sometimes you need your other hand, and then it kind of makes things a little bit clunky. When I was officially diagnosed in September, I started getting it in July, but nobody would give me actual answers. I have a whole video about that experience. People said it was a pinched nerve. I wasted lots of money for practically nothing. And I wasn't allowed to do games for a month. I could maybe do Sims or something because all you need is a mouse, but I wasn't allowed to do any shooting games like Fortnite. Editing videos was pretty difficult. I would needed to write articles, and that sucked. I don't want to really say slacking on Patreon because it's not on purpose, as in like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. It's more like I physically cannot do this because of my health. And doing makeup and stuff, that was difficult. Putting on clothes, mostly jeans. Granted, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm not really getting dressed up and wearing jeans, but I've had to buy brand new clothes, more leggings and things like that, because it's hard to get jeans up. Also, I've gained weight and leggings are cheaper than jeans. I don't want to deal with that. And I have swollen feet, so trying to get shoes on. So not only am I trying to find new shoes to put on my feet, because my left one's swollen up like this big constantly. Don't have any answers for that either. Put a sleeve on it and rest it. 3 years later, okay. And so just everything has been a bit of a struggle, and so I was on 24-hour brace wear from September to now. Although I'm gonna be honest, I haven't worn my brace in about 2 weeks. And I haven't really experienced symptoms. So am I getting better? Not like fully cured. Although now that I'm talking about it, imagine that my palm's gonna get extremely numb again. Just imagine. Gonna knock on that wood. But yeah, so there's still like the tiniest bit. But although last week at some point I did have some tremendous pain going on because now it's shifted over here too. Although it feels fine right now. But I just had like this big old tendonitis happening throughout my arm and it hurts so much. That's what slathering Tiger Balm all over is for, right? I don't know what's up with that. Is it doing better? Or is it just having one of those moments where it's like, oh, we're gonna give you a break because you've been through all this with everything piling on and on and on. Keep that going, please, 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 keep that going. But yeah, so I have had to adapt. I've played my favorite games less. I am looking into getting an ergonomic keyboard and a mouse. I do have a mouse. It is a little bit clunky to use. I'm gonna have to try to get used to that, but I am trying to get a new keyboard. Those are expensive. Those are like $200. Why are they so expensive? Damn. I actually switched my phones. I was using the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the big old phones, and now I've upgraded you can't really say downgrade. I've upgraded, but I downsized to the iPhone 12 regular. Not the Pro, it's the regular. I almost got the mini. PR was like, do you want to try the mini though? But like, I don't know, I feel like it might be way too small for me. So I just got this, and yeah, here's Eevee with my name engraved. Let me know real quick if you want me to do a what's on my iPhone general and accessibility edition. I think that would be cool for Vlogmas. Yeah, so this has been much lighter. There was the Pro, obviously, which is the same size as this, but something that it's made of, I forget exactly what it's made of. It's a little bit heavier than what this is made of, the regular phone, so I just got the regular 12. I'm wearing leggings a lot more often now, of course, partially due to the pandemic and partially due to just, it's hard like having to constantly pull up pants and like try to button. I had to get Velcro shoes instead of using the laced regular shoes because well, if it's on my right foot, it's a little bit swollen due to weight gain, but it's not as swollen as my other foot, which is like this. So it was just a lot easier instead of constantly buying new shoes, returning, buying new ones again, returning, because I just couldn't get my foot in Velcro. But I have yet to find like cute winter fall boots that I can easily put on. Such a shame. Oh well. In September, I wasn't really doing any major makeup looks. I don't know how much I filmed during the month of September. I don't think very often, but I just did it extremely simple. I did my base, I did blush and stuff, but I just really couldn't do more dramatic looks, if you will. Even if it was like neutral, it was just constant like having to hold and do this and that, and like so I would have something like this. This is a Kaja bento box. The very first color is like this pretty shimmery thing, and I would just take my finger, apply it that way, and be done. Or I would take any of my other powder shadows that look the same, and then just take like a loose brush and be like da da da, mascara done. I couldn't do eyeliner because it just, holding a pencil or a brush, anything that has the same shape as a pencil or brush, was so difficult. And every month on Patreon, I would write letters to people. I can't really do that anymore. I don't know, maybe now I could get away with it a little bit more, but I don't really want to try that yet for at least like month. So instead of doing a whole letter perk for pen pals, I really didn't want to get rid of that perk because I thought it was really nice to have a community perk with people where you could get to know me a little bit and chat, and all these letters were going to a P.O. box, obviously. So instead I thought, well, I have enough strength where I can write an address and maybe a quick little message. So I went and changed the perk to monthly postcards, or they will be officially changed come January. December is my living in limbo Patreon month. So if you follow me, if you pledge to me on Patreon, everything will come back to normal in January. I appreciate your patience while everything's like, I'm trying to figure out new stuff. Basically all of my perks, my tiers are just in limbo right now, trying to figure out what I can do to, one, streamline so people are more inclined to want to pledge, but also I want to be able to give you what you pay for. And then obviously other things, it's just suck. Like, I've been so scared that I'm not going to be able to do the work that I want to do, especially with streaming. Like, it sucked to not be able to play the games that I wanted to. My stream was really starting to grow every day, like in views and stuff. You know, I've been streaming for almost 3 years and I've been trying to grow it. Fortnite was like my #1. It just was. That is what was helping me grow eventually. But then because I couldn't play it for a month and I was playing other games that weren't as popular, people were like, I'm out. It's been a struggle to get back up again since, so that was a huge bummer. I was starting to feel like a failure, you know, like just like originally I started to do less because my mental health was awful. Things were going on in my life, and so I already felt awful about that. And then once I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back up and start doing this, then this happened and physically kept me from doing everything else. And I just couldn't help but feel awful. Like I was failing myself and I was failing everybody else. And that screwed up my mental health even more, and then it just kept going like a bad plane crash or something, right? And then, you know, come December, it's Vlogmas, and what do you think I'm gonna do? Attempt to film every day, because what's wrong with me? Or attempt to upload every day anyway. Basically that hasn't gone too well. I tell you every time, Vlogmas never goes as planned. And I was gonna pre-film everything, or at least a good amount in November. Nah. Nah. Oh, so, but then I decided I would switch to just weekdays and then give the weekend to myself to try to film and edit, things like that. Oh me, why do I do this to myself? And then also everything came with money, stress. Carpal tunnel syndrome crap was expensive. Because remember, from July to September, I was going to the chiropractor, I was going to other like general doctors, and nobody would give me an actual answer as to what was going on. So I spent $2 grand total. Originally, when I first made my original GoFundMe, the first goal, it was about $1,500 because the chiropractor appointments were adding up. I don't have insurance, right? So chiropractors don't take insurance anyway, at least mine don't. But then the family doctor was $100 to go in each time, plus all the medications that I have to pay for out of pocket. And then there was the orthopedist, which was almost $300 to go in first for the first visit. Then I realized it was cheaper the more you go. But $300 to walk into the door and be told, yeah, you got carpal tunnel syndrome, wear your brace. That's it. So the financial stress was just going on and on and on. And if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, and if I had work travel and stuff like that, I would still have financial stress. But it would have been a little bit more bearable, if you will, because at least I would have been able to have some money coming in somewhat regularly. But because, you know, public speaking engagements weren't really happening, just, you know, things like that, I was like, how am I gonna pay for it all? And then I was like, crap, I can barely sign. I was so scared to start doing signing videos again, not so much on my own channel, but for others. You know, I had a Convo hangout, and if you don't know what Convo is, it's like a VRS service for deaf people. It's deaf owned, I think, or did they change that? I'm not sure, but there's lots of deaf staff, and every Friday they would have Facebook Lives, and I and a couple of gamer friends were involved, and it's an all ASL conversation. I think that was the first time I started signing again in public, and I was so scared. Like I'm already scared enough to sign because I'm not fluent, I'm very clunky and things like that. So it's hard for me to like get fluid thoughts together. But then doing this, I was just like, oh my god, and I was taking off my braces because I knew if I had my braces on, nobody would understand me. Like my fingers would just be like, and I know there's other deaf people with other disabilities that affect their hands, and I should probably get some advice from them, but I just didn't have that yet, so I was just so petrified, and I was like, I'm never gonna be able to sign again, am I? It's like Switched at Birth when Daphne's mom had to stop signing because she developed, did she develop carpal tunnel, or was it arthritis or something? I don't know. And it was, I was just scared. I was like, great, I haven't even become more than basic conversational yet, and now it's just, everything's, you know, messed up. And so I had to figure out what I was gonna do with that. My makeup routine is slowly getting back to like doing more fun stuff, which is great because I have way too much eyeshadow. You know, I can't do too much writing anymore. I started to use voice to text a little bit. So when I'm captioning my ASL videos, I'm doing voice to text because typing it all out can be very painful. And with articles, I'm still kind of typing those. I just make sure to take breaks and stretch a lot. Because before I wasn't stretching my hands, but then I started looking up all these carpal tunnel syndrome, or just carpal tunnel stretches. And so when I'm playing Fortnite games, I would take like each game or each couple of games, I would make sure to do my stretches, and I'm doing that still. And oh, my hand's starting to numb up now that I'm talking about it. Why does that happen? You talk about something and then the thing that you don't want to happen happens. And downsizing phone stuff has been working great. I do have a pop socket slider thing. This is amazing. It's like, these are new, but so I don't have to take cases off, and it's kind of hard for me to hold my phone. If I'm standing, if I'm sitting, or I'm standing, it's not too difficult because you can lay it flat. But at home, I can't really do this, and now I don't have to have something that's stuck to my case. I can you just slide on your phone. It's so cool. You should check these out. If you're someone who likes to have multiple different cases and you like to switch out your cases, and it's not exactly like pop socket friendly, I don't want to put it here and I don't want to put it on my Eevee. One other difficult thing is that, you know, I've been trying to really declutter my living space, and once I finally started really trying to get into doing that, so hard to carry heavy things. So I've been waiting until I can get help from my dad and stuff when he's in town. To anyone who has carpal tunnel syndrome and things like that, you know, my friends with EDS, you know, just stuff where you get a lot of pain. Chronic pain in general already sucks. I get it in my shoulders and my head with TMD and in my back. That already sucked enough, and now it's like, oh great, we have more body parts to add to that trouble, and there have just been days when I just sit in bed, lay in bed and cry, and just I can't deal with it anymore because it sucks so bad. But so far it seems to be improving. If I can avoid surgery, great. If I can avoid the injections that you get every few months apparently, great, because I hate needles. I'm gonna keep hoping for good things. But yeah, I've had to make a lot of changes. If you're someone who has carpal tunnel syndrome, let me know what you do to manage the pain and manage the numbness. If you have any tips and tricks, if you're someone who has issues with signing because of arthritis or carpal tunnel syndrome or something, please let me know your tips, because that's the one thing I'm gonna struggle with the most. Like when I just did my recent ASL video, I felt like it was just, I don't even know how to explain it. Somebody on my Discord noticed that I was like different in my signing. I don't know if they watched my other signing videos, but even I noticed I had a different thing that I noticed where I was just like, it was more difficult for me to be fluid as I once was. But let me know your advice down below. I would very much appreciate it. I'm sure other people would too, in case they're having the same problems. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, especially for Vlogmas. You don't want to miss out on any future videos. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you later.